I'd call the meeting to order, our special meeting of the Urbana Human Relations Commission. I don't have my agenda in front of me. Let's have a roll call, please, Elizabeth.
All right, Carol Bradford, Stacy Burnett, Reverend Florence Kaplow, Daniel Larson, Megan McKissick.
Here.
Pete Resnick.
Here.
Francis Rigberg.
Here.
Julie Robinson Schaefer.
Here.
Great. Okay. We do have a quorum, and we have to go through all these little things, but we'll go quickly. Can we have a motion for the approval of our agenda? Our ambitious.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. We have a roll call vote on that, please. Elizabeth, you're muted.
Sorry.
You're muted. Hi.
Megan McKissick.
Yes.
Pete Resnick.
Yes.
Francis Rigberg.
Here. Yes, I'm sorry.
Julie Robinson Schaefer.
Yes.
Okay. Public participation? Okay. So what we have...
There's a hand up.
Oh, somebody is...
Yeah,
Yeah.
If you turn on participant list and switch to the attendee.
Oh, yeah, because I can't see it. Okay. We do have Christopher Hansen. Please speak.
Hi, Francis. Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Good. My name is Christopher Hansen. I missed your last meeting and I haven't had a chance to watch it. So maybe I didn't quite understand what caused this special meeting, but I see your letter here about hiring that equity officer. I wanted to, the HRC, that, simply hiring someone isn't a laudable goal in itself. It needs to be, hiring someone who's going to do the job right and everything. But I don't know why Ms. Rigberg is shaking her head. Maybe I should have.
No, we're just going to hire someone off the street. Right.
No, well, let me make my point, and then maybe it'll be clear why. So we had another similar position called the community engagement coordinator that had a lot of kind of similar flowery language in the job description. And, my understanding is more than 100 people applied for that spot. And there was one person who was informed of this community engagement coordinator position before it was even officially created as a job position in the city. And that person happened to be friends with, the people who held similar titles with the city, was childhood friends with Chief Anthony Cobb, was friends with other Urbana police officers. And out of 100 applicants, that person just happened to get the job. Now, I struggle to believe that the person who was tipped off about this job title just happened to be the best applicant out of more than 100 people or whatever. So, and then that person went on to mute someone at a public meeting for criticizing the chief of police. And I don't know that we got someone who is going to fulfill their job title of community engagement coordinator when they seem to be interested in of silencing the public or silencing the community who want to speak about issues of concern. So I don't know where we're on track with this other job hiring, but I guess what I wanted to urge the HRC to do is to whatever extent you can, involve yourselves in the hiring process and make sure that you're happy with the person that the mayor picks. And that's my suggestion. Thank you.
That is our intention. Okay. Thank you, Christopher. Okay. Is there any other one who would like to speak from the public? Okay.
Yeah,
Grace.
Grace.
Does.
Oh, okay. I'm not used to seeing this information. Grace, please go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. My name is Grace Wilkin, and I'm an Urbana resident. And I just wanted to listen in tonight. I'm interested in some of the things going on with your commission. And I read the letter and I understand the need for, more dedicated staff to your commission. I agree with Christopher Hansen earlier that it needs to be, an intentional hire, and it needs to be an effective staff person and part-time staff person in your requests. So I hope that that is the ultimate goal here. And then also, as far as also in your letter, you mentioned that you agree with the city with not holding itself to the own human rights anti-discrimination ordinance. So I'm curious on your justifications for that. It doesn't make sense to me. Reading the original ordinance that was put in, to my understanding, a few decades ago, it reads pretty clearly that the city would be held to those standards as well. I understand maybe that issue has already been settled and it is the way it is, but I would be really interested in you addressing that again and hearing kind of that rationale of how that makes sense to you guys in your commission. So some things to keep in mind, and I hope that you can continue to serve with a clear perspective on ensuring that human rights are upheld in Urbana. Thank you.
Okay. Can you tell me where in my letter I say the city is not committed to following the ordinance?
Oh, yes, that was my interpretation in maybe that first or second paragraph, with agreeing with the city's changes to the ordinance, which to my understanding is saying that the city doesn't have to follow its own anti-discrimination in hiring.
Okay, well, that's not correct. That's a mistake. The city is going to follow the ordinance. The city is not, the concerns about any problems that the city is not following the ordinance are not going to be handled in the same way that complaints that are not against the city, that are against employers, hotels, whatever, are handled. That is the difference. And if you read the latest changes, that has all been made clear. And I hope that makes you feel
And that's those changes to code section 12 something, I believe.
Yes, that's right. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's correct. And it's up to our commission to hear these complaints against the city. We're calling them reports, because they're not going to be handled the same way formal complaints are, but they're taken just as seriously, and the procedures for handling them, for the commission to handle them, which we will be developed by the HRC. So
right, well,
our bylaws and the ordinance. So I hope that is some comfort to you.
Yes, thank you for clarifying. I'm interested to look into that update on the code, because my understanding was that the city was not upholding itself to those standards, and that was the changes to code.
No, the city that's one of the things that is very important. The city has made a pledge that it shall abide by the ordinance. And that's very important. It's just that it won't be handled quite the same way if there's a problem. Okay. Mm-hmm. Sure, you're welcome. Okay, anybody else wish to speak?
Yep, Tracy
Oh,
Chung. No.
okay.
Hi, this is
Okay,
Tracy. Tracy Chung from Urbana. I just want to follow up with Grace Wilkins' comments. Our friend just mentioned that the city is making a pledge to hold itself accountable, but I guess I'm concerned with that, and I'm wondering how you guys, board members, feel, especially since there have been so many instances over the past year where the city just blatantly breaks the ordinance. And we have rulings from the PAC that the city breaks Open Meeting Act rules, FOIA rules. So I guess what makes you think that just having a pledge makes it okay? And you mentioned that there's going to be a different set of procedures. How is that going to work? How is the city going to be made accountable if what avenue do residents have to follow up on this other than just bringing it up to HRC? And then what would you guys do? I guess I just want to know more, especially since the city now is leaning towards not formally being under the jurisdiction of HRC. So I want to know what avenue residents have. And I want to know how you guys have so much confidence that a simple pledge would work. Thank you.
Okay, it's not a simple pledge. It's in the ordinance. I don't know why you always think the worst is going to happen. We do not have the ways of handling the reports of problems yet, but we fully intend to develop them. And just try to trust us. The city is not, it's not a matter of the city just pledging in some resolution or something. It's in the ordinance, okay? That they will follow the ordinance. They are committed to that legally. Anyone can correct me if I'm wrong here, Pete, but I believe that's the case. And the way of handling any reports of concerns will be up to the Human Relations Commission. Okay, so we are not unhappy with this outcome. Would anybody else like to speak to that, Pete? You? Nope. Okay. That's it for public input. And now we proceed to our, I believe, unless anybody else has a hand up. Okay.
And to note for
Yes,
the record that Florence Caplow has joined us.
Oh, yay. Hi, Florence. Thank you for joining us. We definitely have a full quorum here. Okay. Our point of our meeting, the purpose of our meeting is to approve this letter from all of us to the mayor regarding our restlessness with not having a fully formed HRO, Human Rights Office, and having an officer. I think we've all had a chance to look at this letter. I believe that mayor may already be aware of it. Elizabeth, did you have, yes, Pete, did you want to?
Well, I just, in case you haven't seen it, Fran, I did get a message earlier from the mayor indicating that the city staff plan is to schedule initial interviews with applicants starting the week of March 29th. I don't know if that makes our letter moot. I think we can perfectly well say, please go ahead and get this done.
Yes.
And I think it's fair to explain to the mayor, although she, may be perfectly aware, given that this has been on the agenda, that what trouble we're running into by not having an officer. But I think it's, perfectly reasonable for us to put that in writing and make it official. I think that's fine.
I agree to have it on the record.
But it is good to know that they are moving along in the process.
Definitely. First of all, let's have, yes, Elizabeth.
So I could probably give you a little bit more information. I'm not intimately involved in that hiring process, but yes, they do have first interviews scheduled for that week, and that would be narrowing down a larger group to a smaller group for final interviews. I understand we have a number of very well qualified candidates, and they're hoping that the final interviews could occur mid-April. Scheduling with the mayor can be challenging sometimes.
Okay.
So I'm not going to tell you for certain that it's going to happen on that schedule.
Okay.
And then after that, it's just a matter of, extending the offer and, kind of working out the details. And there was always, time for people to transition from one job to another. But yes, I think it's, quite far along at this point. So.
Okay. Now, we were assured that we'd be involved in the interview process.
Yeah, the person who's handling the interview process knows that we need at least a representative from HRC to be involved.
Great. Okay. More than one wouldn't hurt either. But okay, that's good.
Yeah, we need to be careful that we're not violating the Open Meetings Act.
Sure, of course. Right.
Of course, and we'll have to take a look at kind of the composition of the committee and who else needs to be at the table. We may also want to have somebody from CPRB, and sometimes if the group gets very large, it can be kind of intimidating.
Yes.
candidates, which we also don't want. So.
I agree with you. Thank you very much. So let's see, can we have a motion on the approval of this letter?
Yeah, so one question, and this may be in part for Elizabeth as far as rules of order go, but I had sent you a couple of edits, Fran.
Yes, they're in there.
They are not
Oh,
in the one on the website, at least as far as I can tell.
okay, let me take a look.
Let me make sure
Okay.
and find what I sent to you. At least the one that I most recently downloaded from the website. So let me check.
Okay, because there's really only one copy, so they should be in there, and if they're not, I'm happy to make those changes right now. Well, most recent changes to the ordinance, et cetera.
Okay, no,
think we're
you're
okay.
right. I think yes, I see the updates, and yeah. So
Okay, good.
certainly for purposes of discussion, but I think the current state is fine. I'll make a motion to send the message as drafted on and shown on the website to the mayor for the Human Relations Commission with the signature of the chair.
Okay, and notice that I did say a copy going to Carol and to Elizabeth.
That would be fine as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
And
do we
that's
have a
fine.
second?
Second.
Discussion. Okay, then let's have a roll call vote on that.
Reverend Florence Caplow,
Yes.
Megan McKissick,
Yes.
Pete Resnick,
Yes.
Francis Rigberg,
Yes.
and Julie Robinson Schaefer.
Yes.
Okay, it passes. I'll send it in. And I think that concludes our business. Thank you all very much for coming to this
Thank
special
you.
meeting. And thank you, Elizabeth, for making time and supporting this. Thank you.
And thank you, Francis, for drafting the letter.
Oh,
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
pleasure. Okay, thank you very much and good night.